the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Ahead on the news at noon, we continue to track the latest in the Southwest Airlines system meltdown from BWI. And later, a crime that remains unsolved 2 years later, why a West Virginia firefighter's family is now seeking justice from the government after he died in the line of duty. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Annalisa Gale. We start with meteorologist Damon Matson now. On a good note today, the sun is shining and things are improving for us this week.
Annalisa, you said it perfectly. That's all we're looking at here moving forward with the weather. Not much changing except for those temperatures. They keep going up. Just how much warmer are we expecting things to get here this afternoon? We'll have a check here in just a bit.
All right. Thanks, Damon. Well, breaking now, 15 people lost their homes earlier today after a fire broke out in an apartment complex on Landover Road in Maryland. Prince George's County Fire telling us that fire started in a unit on the top floor of that building. So far, no injuries have been reported. The county's Office of Emergency Management will be helping those who were displaced. And we have an update now on the police standoff along Hemlock Court in Herndon, Virginia. Herndon police saying the barricade suspect surrendered himself and is now being medically evaluated there. Earlier in the standoff, the hostage was also able to get out safely. Overnight officers closed nearby Herndon Parkway between Van Buren and Maple due to that incident. The Mega Millions jackpot has grown to an estimated $640 million after Tuesday's drawing passed without a winner. This marks 21 straight drawings without a winner. This huge jackpot comes less than 2 months after the largest lottery prize ever, a $2 billion Powerball draw in California. The next drawing for the Mega Millions will be this Friday. Well, several questions come to mind when talking about privacy surrounding your holiday purchases. Among them, what personal data is being collected on apps and websites? Well, according to the National Retail Federation, 130 million people shopped online over the holiday weekend. 42% of all weekend purchases were made on the web. The data companies get from online shoppers can then be sold to make a profit from advertisers. Many states do not have laws to prevent consumer data from being sold. Here in the DMV, only Virginia has passed a law that allows consumers to opt out of their data being processed for targeted ads. They can also request a copy of that data. That law goes into effect January 1st. A similar bill failed in West Virginia this year. Maryland and D.C. do not have similar laws on the books right now, but they do require that companies tell consumers when their information has been breached.
The app is basically a tool to get people's data. And a lot of times those apps, they may have one purpose, but they take all sorts of data unrelated to that. The app that you're using has to follow the either Android system or iOS, Apple's systems rules in their app store.
Congress ought to get a lump of coal, and that is on having any kind of protections or guardrails around social media and technology. We need to do a better job of realizing these services come with sometimes a hidden cost, and that hidden cost may be your very personal private data.
The digital advertising industry is a billion-dollar business, and it's why lawmakers like Virginia Senator Mark Warner, who you just saw there, are now moving to expand protections for personal data. Well, stretching your dollar now, according to a new report from the Social Security Administration, Social Security benefits are expected to drop 23% in 2035. But the sooner consumers contribute to their 401ks, the more comfortable they will be when entering retirement. As Ben Dennis reports now, no matter your age, there are steps you can take to get the most out of your money.
You've been paying into Social Security since the first job as a teenager, and you get your paycheck.
The White House pushing to strengthen Social Security as payments are slated to go down. Meanwhile, consumers don't have to brace for impact.
What are the biggest and best options that people have to start saving money for retirement right now?
Sign up immediately for your company-sponsored retirement plan.
Financial advisor Patrick Moriarty suggests people set aside a sliver of their paycheck for retirement. Why? Many employers will match it.
You've got to save as much money as possible.
And when Americans turn 50, they can contribute and get back more every year.
So if you're under 50 years old, the contribution limit is $20,500. And if you're 50 years old old or older, the contribution limit is $27,000.
Individual retirement accounts like a Roth IRA, which generally are not taxed, could help too.
In the Roth IRA goes into the account after tax dollars, and then it grows tax-free forever whenever we take withdrawals from it.
Extra cash from part-time jobs like Uber, Grubhub, or holiday seasonal work could go toward retirement too, and right now.
Also, while gig work can bring in extra cash, many retailers won't contribute to 401k plans for part-time workers there unless they've already met certain requirements. Well, developing now, the man who holds Southwest Airlines' top job is responding to the airline's scheduling meltdown that, for the third day in a row, is leaving about 2/3 of flights nationwide canceled. DC News Now's Joseph Olmo was back at BWI today and breaks down how the scene looks versus yesterday.
Inside the Southwest Airlines terminal here at BWI today, the confusion and frustration is growing.
I'm giving up.
We fly Southwest all the time. This is terrible.
So my luggage has been sitting outside for days. Yeah. What sense does that make?
FlightAware reporting at BWI alone, over 220 flights have been canceled in the past 24 hours, the majority of them from one airline. The list goes on and on. Take a look. Jacksonville, Miami, Myrtle Beach, Nashville, New Orleans, just some of the departures that are canceled as Southwest runs an unprecedented race to get their flight schedule back on track. Here's CEO Bob Jordan.
Clearly, we need to double down on our already existing plans to upgrade systems for these extreme circumstances so that we never again face what's happening right now.
While the airline grapples with one of the worst cancellation crises in U.S. aviation history, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saying it is unacceptable that Southwest hasn't recovered from last week's winter weather havoc while other carriers have.
I conveyed to the CEO our expectation that they are going to go above and beyond to take care of passengers and to address this.
Meanwhile, it is bags, 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 and more bags here. Hundreds of them lined up at BWI Airport. Passengers trying to track them down. We're told by some that even though their bag might be physically here in the airport, they won't be able to retrieve it for the next couple of days.
We weren't giving any hotel vouchers while we were in Fort Lauderdale with all our flights canceled. We were just stuck. Kiara
Walker drove all the way from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to BWI after her flight back home was canceled. Turns out her bags never left BWI in the first place, and now she's told they have to go to Fort Lauderdale first and then back up to BWI until she can get them.
Literally, this is what I've been wearing since like Wednesday. Like, it's f***ing ridiculous.
And late today, Southwest Airlines confirming to DC News Now that they're in the final stages of setting up some sort of online portal where they'll be able to link people with their lost baggage. In the meantime, your best bet is to go to Southwest's website, hit the trip advisory button at the very top, and either make a plan to rebook your flight or get all your money back for that canceled flight that never took off. Reporting here at BWI Airport, I'm Joseph Olmo, DC News Now.
Turning now to Buffalo, New York, where military police are making sure people are staying off the roads. More officers were brought in yesterday enforcing travel restrictions after a blizzard pounded the region with several feet of snow. This most recent storm is being called one of the deadliest snowstorms to hit that area there. So far, more than 30 people have died. Local leaders are warning people that police will be stationed at entrances to Buffalo and major intersections to stop drivers ignoring those restrictions.
If you are trying to get in the city of Buffalo, please stay out unless you're emergency personnel, unless you're a first responder, unless you're authorized in an emergency situation, because it still is really treacherous out there and difficult conditions.
Some suburban roads and most major highways in the area reopened. First responders have reported struggles getting to emergency calls. Locally, Maryland is dealing with the brunt of damage in the DMV from this weekend's winter storm. Local fire and water utility companies have responded to hundreds of calls of water main breaks and burst pipes in Montgomery and Prince George's counties. WSSC Water reported 85 water main breaks in Montgomery County and Prince George's counties. To stay prepared for the next time temperatures dip low, Montgomery County Fire spokesperson Pete Paringer is advising to make sure to keep that water shut off.
You know, water and electricity don't mix. So, you know, we'll come in and make sure that, you know, there aren't any electrical systems affected. We want to make sure that the house is safe, that you're safe.
Another local plumbing company says they've received over 1,000 calls in 36 hours over the weekend for water main issues. Well, the Washington Commanders just announced Sunday's starting QB against Cleveland. Carson Wentz will start for Washington. The team has leaned on backup quarterback Taylor Heineke there. Wentz did play this past weekend. This week, head coach Ron Rivera said he wanted to talk with the players before making a final decision. And over to Montgomery County now, native and Olympic swimmer Katie Ledecky has won her second Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year. Ledecky beat out American track star Sydney McLaughlin for the award by putting together a stellar performance at the World Championships in Hungary and setting 2 world records in the process. The Bethesda-born athlete won her first AP Female of the Year award back in 2017 after earning 5 gold medals at that year's World Championships. Ledecky has been swimming professionally since she debuted at the 2012 London Olympics at just 15 years old.